Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about, has AEW dropped the ball with Harley Cameron? I think they have. I think they're no longer going to push her as hard as they were just a couple of months ago, if not, well, whenever I started liking her character. And it's quite a shame because I do like her character. I don't watch AEW, I just watch the women matches. Very similar to that of WWE. The reason being, I'm just no longer a wrestling fan. I'm just kind of tired of wrestling, but I pop in every once in a while just to watch some of the women's matches. And so there's a couple of female matches I will watch on WWE, but I tend to try to watch more of the ones on AEW. And one thing I've started to notice is not only have they dropped the ball on Harley Cameron, but they seem to drop the ball on their entire division. So much so that the only people they're focused on is Toni Storm and Mercedes Moné. Now, I love both these ladies, especially Toni Storm. I haven't really watched too much of Mercedes. I watched a couple of her matches when she was Sasha Banks and everything, but I haven't watched all of them and seen her feuds and her promos, so I haven't really caught up on all of that. But I've watched a lot of stuff with Toni Storm in AEW after she had her amnesia and stuff. And so, and don't get me wrong, she's a great character and stuff. And she deserves to be praised because I finally went back to her NXT days of WWE, with War Games and everything. And I'm just like, my God, how is this the same person? She was horrible on WWE. Her promos, her wrestling was just horrible. But she went to AEW and she sat her behind down and pulled a Rock. If you don't know what that means, back when Rock was Rocky Maivia, people started to get stale of his character and stuff. They didn't like him no more and they kept saying Rocky sucks. So, just like Mark Henry said, he went to The Rock went to his car, came up with a bunch of material, went out to the arena, and The Rock was born. Coming up with all kind of catchphrases, the people's eyebrow, the rock bottom, all that stuff. He literally reinvented himself to save his career. And that's kind of what Toni Storm did when she went to AEW and stuff. She rejuvenated her career in a huge, huge way. So much she is a huge fan favorite. Problem is now that AEW only sees her and really her only. She's had the belt for way too freaking long. And as much as I love seeing her with the belt and love seeing her perform, it is high time she dropped that title. Because now, even though she's still funny on the mic, her matches are just starting to be lackluster now. We know she's gonna win. She wins all her matches and everything. And so, there's nothing new. And they're running out of people for her to wrestle. But AEW seems to be fixated on just her and Mercedes and stuff so much that in the past 2 months, all I've ever seen are tag matches with the women. They're either your standard 2-person tag, or they're a 4-person tag, or there's more than that. You know what I'm saying? And that's how all the women matches have been for the past 2 months. People are feuding with each other for no apparent reason because there's no story behind it. People are tagging with people for no apparent reason because they just aren't writing nothing for them. And, it's getting kind of irritating. But one thing that's irritated me the most is how they dropped the ball on Harley and everything. Now, I'm still starting to get to know who Harley is. They have this whole live marathon of her from when she first came to AEW to her first matches, her promos, everything. So I started to watch them and I started to notice stuff. And the thing about Harley Cameron that most people might not realize is that like she actually really wants to be like a wrestler. It's like her passion, it is her dream. Like I saw like an interview with her and stuff. So when she does those promos saying that, she really truly means it if you watch an interview with her. The thing I like about her is that she is a genuine nice human being. Yeah, she is extremely hot and sexy. But like there's an actual person behind all that glamour. Like she grew up poor. She has tons of brothers and sisters, or siblings, I should say. You know, she came to America to make something of herself in the entertainment business. Like you know, either in acting, singing, or in this case, wrestling, because she's a huge wrestling fan. She learned how to sing. She taught herself how to play guitar. She taught herself how to like speak Mandarin, Chinese, and stuff. She taught herself how, taught herself ventriloquism and everything. Like, she's like a really cool, interesting person. But the problem is, she got over with fans before she knew how to wrestle professionally and everything. Before she was just a hot girl who could take a bump and everything, you know? And when you watch that marathon of her, that's like what she mainly does. She wrestles a little bit, she takes her bumps, and then she loses her matches and stuff. And so, and even if she was in a tag match, her partner will lose via her. She's always the one getting pinned and everything, right? But she was improving in the ring. That was like really cool because she really wants to take this seriously and stuff. So match after match after match, she would like improve. And it was to the point to where she was originally a heel, but they turned her into a face. Oh, did I also mention she can sing really well and everything? But the problem is like I said before, she got way over with the fans before it was her time and everything. Because like she got over with the fans by having this Harley Quinn type personality. She was crazy and wacky in a scary kind of way. You know, and she has this high pitched voice because she's Australian and everything. And it just like, you know, was very similar to that of Harley Quinn. Plus, you know, Margot Robbie, who's famous for playing Harley Quinn, is Australian and stuff. And so her promos were getting people over with fans. Then she came up with a catchphrase. And her catchphrase is very catchy and everything, you know, feel the wrath. And only a big name person will have like a catchphrase, you know. If you smell what the Rock is cooking, and that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. Only your top people really truly have a catchphrase, or people who are up and coming and gonna be the next big thing. So she was getting pretty over with like fans and everything, you know what I'm saying? She had the looks, she had the catchphrase, she had the promo work. Her wrestling skills were improving. But then she did something to really get her over with the fans. Her puppet. And when she started that feud with Mercedes Moné, and Mercedes Moné, you know, she's very famous from her WWE days, she started going up against a pretty big name. And but not only that, but she mocked the crap out of her with like a puppet. And the puppet was hilarious. It was cute. It was funny. It really got her over. And I made a video about all that. I literally said, if they can book her right, oh, she will go over the moon. She needs to have her own segment with like the puppet and everything. Kind of like a kid's show, like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? But instead in a wrestling kind of I'll mock you kind of way. And every person she gets in a feud with, she should mock them with like a puppet and everything. Only problem is they didn't do that. And I don't know why they didn't do that. She had her match with Mercedes. She lost. She did not become the TBS champion and everything. And then after that, you assume she's going to keep gunning for the title, but she didn't. They didn't book her that way. Instead, they tried to partner her with Mercedes. That don't make no sense because one's heel and one's face. But Harley's crazy in the head, so it doesn't really matter. And it was a funny little partnership they had, but they quickly squashed that because they wanted to keep Mercedes a heel and not that of a face. And then she would have keep partnering with Harley, she would have became like a face. Then I'm thinking to myself, okay, they're building Harley up. They're booking her pretty well, but what's next for her, right? So only good things will come because she started winning matches at this point. Until Megan Bayne came into AEW and they kind of said, screw Harley and everything. So Megan Bayne comes in, and in case you don't know, Megan Bayne, even though she's not like thick like a monster, she has that monster heel persona. She's quiet, she doesn't talk, she grunts. She beats everybody up. She squashes everybody. And so when she faced Harley, of course, guess what happened? She squashed her and everything. And I was just like, oh, no. That's the moment I knew they gave up on her. And they did. And Megan Bayne has even beat Toni Storm, but not for the title. And I'm just kind of like, why are you going to have her randomly beat the champion? But then there's no feud with that. Tony Khan, what are you doing, man? So anyways, after she got squashed by that of Bane, they started putting her in a tag team with somebody. I'm not sure who it is. But she started tagging with that person all randomly. And you know how it is. If a solo wrestler has to start doing a tag division, then that means the writers have nothing for them, but they still want to keep them on television to keep them relevant and to keep them in the company from going someplace else. So she started doing that, and then, of course, tragedy hit. She got injured. She broke her nose and everything. No, I'm like, crap, now she's out with an injury. They're really gonna bury her now, you know what I'm saying? So right before she came back, she started doing a really great promo where she had all these bandages around her face and she's watching some match and she's going kind of crazy. And she kind of had like this Jack Nicholson Joker moment where she's just ripping the band-aids off, and I don't even know if she asked for the mirror or not, but it was like pretty like kooky crazy, showing that she's going to be the psychotic person. Is she going to be heel? Is she going to be face? What's she going to be? And so normally when a face comes back from an injury and they have business to take care of and everything, normally they win a match, right? Only she didn't. She lost her match. And I'm just like, oh, wait, she's a face. She's a baby face. She just came back from a big injury. She wants her revenge. And she got her butt kicked. And I'm just kind of like, what the heck is going on? And then, of course, they put her back in those tag matches. And the last one I watched was probably like a week or two ago. And her team lost because she got pinned. I'm like, oh crap, they're making her into a jobber again. So yes, I believe AEW has dropped the ball with Harley. I believe they have given up and have made her a jobber again. We have not seen that puppet since her feud with Mercedes Moné. And that puppet is something that really, really got her over the top with fans and everything. And I'm just kind of like, why are y'all doing this? Like, I started to be a fan of this woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really invested my time in wanting to see her succeed in AEW because she was briefly in WWE, but I don't think she did anything. I know she did that one music video, and that was about it. But for whatever reason, WWE didn't see like potential in her. So she went someplace else and reinvented herself. And now, because the women's roster is very lackluster on AEW right now, they have literally pushed her down to the bottom of being a jobber again. And I am very frustrated with that. I mean, oh, I mean, yeah, I get it. She's still improving. She hasn't, like, become of the levels of like a Trish Stratus or a Bianca Belair or nothing like that. Because one thing I've noticed about her, she loves it so much, she needs to calm down in the ring. Like when she runs, like before she got injured with the broken nose, she used to run around that ring extremely fast, like a steam engine and everything. And I told myself she's gonna get hurt, or she's gonna hurt somebody else. Now the way she got hurt was completely different. I forgot how and everything. And not only did she come back, but because she wears that face mask and everything, and she rarely takes it off, but she does take it off. They don't really show her face. But then whenever I do see her post a picture of herself online, like a modeling picture, her face don't look the same no more. And I wonder if she's had any work done other than getting her nose fixed. I know her boobs are fake because she mentioned that. And so I'm just kind of wondering now. Because the thing about her, she's committed, she posts all kinds of sexy pictures and promotes AEW and stuff. Like she's in it for the long run, but AEW just only sees her as like eye candy and everything. And it's quite a shame. And I'm afraid one day she might go someplace else, like WWE, who's not going to do nothing with her. TNA might, but TNA has that partnership with WWE, so who really knows, I mean, even though her Instagram, she doesn't even go by Harley Cameron. She goes by her real name. And that's kind of odd, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm really mad at the lackluster, like, women's division in, like, AEW right now. Especially what they did to Harley Cameron, because I don't want her to be a jobber. I don't want her to be another Nikki Ash or whatever, Nikki Cross or whatever she's calling herself, or Piper Niven. Like, those are two women who can actually wrestle, but WWE just sees them as jobbers. Like, when is the last time Nikki Cross has had a real match? And a real solo match? Like, after she lost the title, they just jobbed her after that. Then they put her with the Wyatt Six, and she doesn't do nothing but just like attack people or just pose and everything. They gave up on her. And I feel horrible because that woman can actually wrestle. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.